Welcome back, guys, to another Paracord Survival production. So, just recently I joined Adam with Equipped to Endure, his members area on his website. Awesome guy, check out his channel and join his website. Lots of cool stuff going on there. But I was reading a thread on the new forum on somebody starting out bushcraft survival camping and what they think should be in a new kit. Now, I wrote a whole long thing in response to that, and I thought I'd shoot a video because I think a lot of people make mistakes, or not mistakes, but spend too much money when they first start. So I want to go over a couple low-cost options and just different ways that you can go through making your own kit. Alright guys, so I've given this talk quite a few times on building a basic kit at a low cost in my Civil Air Patrol Squadron for our bivouacs or campouts. Now, the first thing I tell them is to consider the rule of threes. Now, the rule of threes goes, you can survive 3 minutes without air on average before suffering brain damage. You can survive 3 hours exposed to extreme elements of heat and cold before experiencing hypothermia or hyperthermia. And then next up is 3 days without water on average, and 3 weeks without food on average. Everything is an average. Different variables will change the outcome, but that's a good standard. So first off with the 3 minutes without air. Now that could mean underwater, get out from underwater, get air. But I also take into the 3 minutes without air as addressing any medical emergencies you may have. So, now first aid kits can vary extremely. First off, crazy simple, just a straight up bandana. Alright, simplest thing, you can make tourniquets with this, last resort, or you can apply pressure to wounds. Second, I've got an Altoids first aid kit that I made. Another homemade first aid kit here in a waterproof bag, and then a fairly large, quite comprehensive first aid kit. Alright, so that covers our 3 minutes without air, give or take. Okay, so next up we have 3 hours exposed to the elements. Now this group varies immensely. Okay? So if it's going to be very cold, not very windy, and no rain, or no snow, your first priority is going to be fire. Now when in your fire making kit, the key to it is redundancy. You want multiple ways to start a fire in case one thing fails you. One thing I see a lot of people forget is just a simple lighter or matches. Matches run out, so I prefer lighters. But just a simple Bic lighter. It'll start a fire. It might not be reliable, but you guys should have redundancy in your kit to make up for that. As well as it's low cost. Alright, next up, magnesium fire bar. Alright, it's quite self-explanatory. If you want to see how to make a fire with a magnesium bar, check out my video. It's on my channel. Alright, this is maybe $8, so it's pretty low cost, and it's quite easy to make a fire with one. And then we have fire steels. Here's a Light My Fire steel. This is a very easy, common one to get at big box stores, as well as a magnesium bar. Now you guys might know I prefer the blast match, or I'm sorry, Strike Force, always do that. But I want to keep this easy to things you can buy locally and you don't have to buy offline. Okay, so still staying in the 3 hours exposed to the elements. If it's going to be raining but not that cold, you can still go into hypothermia. What we've got are emergency blankets, lightweight, low cost. You can buy these, Dick's Sporting Goods, Walmart, any store like that. Alright, and then next, for building a good shelter, this is a USGI poncho. These are kind of expensive at $25 to $30, but this will give you rain gear and shelter. Alright, and it's nice and light and it compresses down well. Here we've got an even cheaper option. This is a tarp. You can get these $5. This is an 8x10. That'll give you plenty of shelter. Frankly, I've been into this I don't even know how long. I still use tarps because I don't want to dish out the money for a tent, and the tarp works. Easy to replace as well. Along with shelter, look into paracord, other cordage. Paracord is good. 550 pound weight, static weight limit, so plenty strong enough to build shelters with. And we'll move this over to our little food section because that can help procure food. Alright, so some of the most important things I think in this are knives, saw. It doesn't have a designated category to go into. Throw these into the 3 hours without shelter, or 3 hours exposed to the elements, because these are important. They need to be near the top of the list. So for low cost knives, this is the only thing you might have to outsource, like order offline. Here we've got Frostmore knife. This is a SL2. Here we have a Frostmore 711G. Now the reason I put these on here is because they've been very reliable, they work very good, and they're cheap. Okay? Cheap in price, not cheap in quality though. If you want to stay locally, you might have to spend a little more. A Gerber Persistence is a good fixed blade. Alright, that's one thing. You want to go with a fixed blade. They're much stronger, much more reliable. Okay, along with the knife, I always carry a saw with me. It saves a ton of energy because if anyone out there has tried to chop with a Mora, you know it just doesn't work. So having a saw with you saves energy, and it will help you build shelters in case you don't have tarp, poncho, whatever. Okay, so that covers 3 hours exposed to elements. Now we have 3 days without water. Okay, so first off, actually let's go with the lower cost one. Here we've got a USGI canteen and stainless steel canteen cup. Alright, storage of water in this canteen. Boil water to purify it in the canteen cup. This is low cost. It shouldn't cost you more than $10. Alright, so another higher quality one is the Nalgene Gaia Design stainless steel water bottle. Now one reason I like to carry this is it carries a little bit more water than a USGI canteen, and if you're in very cold temperatures and your water freezes, because this is stainless steel, you can put it straight into the fire and it can melt your water. Now along with that, it's not a necessity, but I have a Nestor, or an Alicamp cup. This was only $5, so this will give you the option of cooking in. And just to let you guys know, the stainless steel bottle was about $20 at Dick's Sporting Goods. So here I've got a couple non-essentials, but things you might want to consider, and things I see a lot of people do. Instead of, for cookware, or silverware, you guys don't need to buy sporks, even though this is only $3. You can save $3 and spend it elsewhere. These are more expensive. But here we've got sporks. I see a lot of people just look right over, what about just a normal kitchen spoon? Alright? You guys all have spoons, why don't you just grab one of those? Or you can go out to like Goodwill and buy one, couple cents. Alright? So, sporks are nice, spoon works fine. Alright, and then one more thing I wanted to throw in here was another way to purify your water, and that is through iodine tablets. These are low cost. This might have cost $6. In one of my first aid kits, the homemade one with the waterproof bag, I actually have some iodine drops in there. Those only cost $2, and you can purify water the same way. If anybody wants to know how, just shoot me a comment or message and I'll let you guys know. Okay, so that's three days without water. Now, 3 weeks without food. First I'll show you ways you can get food, and then foods you can carry with you. Here we've got I like to call a pipe bomb fishing kit. Got the idea from Dave Canterbury. It's just a piece of PVC tubing, hooks, sinker, line, A lot of stuff in here. In a PVC tube, little paracord around the end, works good. If you guys have seen my kayak trip video, I actually used that, caught a couple fish with it during that trip. Next we have a slingshot. Alright, works good. Takes practice, so if you guys are going to use this, make sure you practice along with everything. If you can go back to just normal muscle reflexes, things your body is used to, it'll help out. And these are low cost, $5 maybe. And this cost me just $4, I'll say, to make this whole kit. Alright. And then you see, as you saw with the shelter, paracord. If any of you guys are familiar with paracord, you know you can take the insides out and make fishing line with it. You can sew things with it, so like 100 feet of paracord is what I recommend. Alright, so food, just all kinds of stuff. Ramen noodles, breakfast cookies, some tuna, chicken, Cliff Bars, beef jerky, granola bars, tuna. Alright, you guys? So my point in showing you all those food, alright, is you can just buy it at your grocery store. It doesn't have to be fancy. Ramen noodles, not ramen. Ravioli, I forgot that one of my preferences. But it doesn't have to be fancy. Just grab something out of the grocery store. High calorie, high protein, high carbs, high starches. Alright, and high fats. Fats are important as well. Alright, so just foods that you like that will last in the heat, because you're not going to be carrying a refrigerator with you. Now some of you guys may be wondering, okay, I've got all this stuff, how am I going to carry it? Quite easily. Here we've got a USGI butt pack. I bought this maybe $15 at my local surplus store. Alright, just take some sort of strap, hook it up right here, throw it over your shoulder like a satchel. Speaking of satchels, haversacks, man purses. Here we have a homemade one. I made this a while back. Guys, I have no idea how to sew, alright? This thing might have cost me $2 in materials and 6-8 hours in work. I don't know how to sew. Looks like crap, but it works. I've carried stuff in here. And it actually compresses down pretty small. Okay. So that covers how to carry your stuff. Now one last thing. The reason I didn't throw this in earlier, a lot of people find navigation important. If you're just starting off with bushcraft and survival, you're probably not going to be venturing out too far out of a familiar area. But once you get farther on, I'll go into more advanced kits. But one thing you want, a good compass. Alright, this compass works out good. Shows me north, about all you need to know. For basic navigation, that's all you need to know. I can shoot azimuths with this. But one thing I really like about this is it's got a mirror in here, alright, blinding the camera. So you can use that for signaling as well. Alright guys, so I have blabbered on for quite a long time about this. I hope you guys find this useful. If you guys are teaching people how to survive, make survival kits, just use some of the tips I've said here. It's worked good for my Civil Air Patrol Squadron. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed the suspense with Paracord Survival. Signing off. Stay alert, stay alive, guys. Thanks.